In this video, we'll talk about arrays. Now, before starting with array, let's understand why we need array. So let's say you have a variable, you have three variables or four variables, and all these four variables are of same type, which is int. Okay, so let me just make the changes here. So we'll say args. So we have these four variables, which is a, b, c, d, and all these variables are of same type, right? And with the values I want to assign here for a is let's say 2, for b it is let's say 3, and for c let's say we have 4, and let's say for d we have again 2. So we are assigning the values here, so which is 2, 3, 4, and 2 for this four variables. Now, when you know all these variables of same type, then we can use something called as arrays. Now it's something like, let's say you have a 4 cup of coffee. So instead of naming each cup like A, cup B, cup C, cup D, what you can do is you can take those 4 cups, you can put those 4 cups in a tray, and you can name the tray. That's the concept of array here. How to define an array is, so first you have to say a variable, a name which is, you have to specify type, then you have to provide a name. We'll say the name of this array is, let's say, x. Since it's not a normal variable, it's an array, so we have to use a square bracket, which means it's a collection of elements. So what is array basically? Array is a collection of similar type of elements. Now how to create an array? You can use a curly braces. In this curly braces, you can have elements like 2, 3, 4, and 2. So we have these elements 2, 3, 4, and 2 in this array. Now how to print these elements? What we'll do is we can say system dot out dot println. Now instead of printing each individual variable which is a, b, c, d, what if I print only x? If I print x, it will print the address of x. I don't want to print the address. What I want to print is I want to print the values. So I have to specify the index number. Now every value here has an index number. So for 2 it is, the index number is 0. For 3 it is 1. For 4 it is 2. And for 2 it is again 3. So index number starts with 0 and its end at the number of values minus 1. What I mean by that is, so the index number starts with, let's say index number starts with 0. So for 2 index number is 0. For 3 index number is 1. For 4 it is 2. For 2 it is 3. So index number starts with 0 and ends at the maximum number, which is the number of values here is 4 minus 1, which is 3. Okay, so if I say I want to print with the index number 0, it will print with the first element, which is 2. So let me run this application now. So you can see the output is 2, right? But let's say I want to print the second element, which is 3. So I can use something called as x of 1. So it will print 3. Okay, so if I say 2, it will print 4. If I say 3, it will print 2. Now, if you want to print all the elements, what we can do is we can write these multiple statements here. We can say it is system.out.println x of 2, or we can use something called as for loop here. So we can use a for loop which starts with I equal to 1, or in fact I equal to 0 because index number starts with 0. And then we have to finish it with I less than 4 and I plus plus. And then we can simply print, instead of printing x of 1, we'll print x of I, which will print all the elements. So we'll say run as Java application. So output is 2, 3, 4, 2. Simple. So this is how we need to assign, we can print the values of this array. But what if the size, we don't know the values of array, what we know is the size. Then how to create an array? Array in Java is an object. So in order to create an array, which we know the size but we don't know the values, we can simply use a keyword called as new because it's an object, and we have to specify int, and we have to say the size of this array is 4. So it is int x bracket equal to new int and the value is 4 here. Now to assign values, so we can use something called as x of 0 and the value is 4, the value is 2. Then x of 1, the value is, I guess the value was, value is 3. And x of 2, then we can use 4. Then let's say x of 3, here x of 3, which is again 2. Now if I run this code, you will get the same output that we were getting earlier. So the same output, right? And you can see there's A, B, C, D, and we have only one variable which is x. But here we have to provide an index number for every element. But what if the value I'm expecting here is 1, 2, 3, 4? So do we have any shortcut to give these values? Yes, we can do it with the help of a for loop. So first let's run this code. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? What I want to do is I want the first element should be 1, the second one should be 2, and the third one should be 3, and the fourth one should be 4. So what we can do is we can use a for loop again here. So we can say a for loop, the starting point of this for loop will be 0, then I less than 4 and I plus plus. We need to write everything in this for loop. So what I will do is I will say x of I, and the value of I should be, it is I plus 1. So the first element will be 1, the second element will be 2. So I don't have to write this code now. So we can use a for loop to assign the values. We can use a for loop to print the values. So if I say run as Java application, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how we should be using arrays. So in the next part, what we'll do is we'll discuss some efficient way of printing the values from array, and we'll focus in the subsequent tutorials, we'll focus more on two-dimensional arrays.